There are 8 pretty straightforward requirements for formatting your story for submitting it to the Spokane Fiction Writers Group Anthology. We're going to go over all 8, and you're watching a video, so you can pause anytime and go back, go forward, go as slow as you need to get through the steps, but this shouldn't take long. Everything's pretty straightforward. The first step is your name must not appear anywhere in the story. So I go to my name and delete it. And that's it for the first one. The second one is it must be a Word document. Your file name has to end in .doc or .docx. As it happens, mine does. If you didn't create your document in Word, you'll have to find a way to save it as Word. I'll give you one example. This is a document from my kids' school created in Google Docs, and you can go to File, Download as Microsoft Word. So you can download it as the proper file format. Some of these other formats also allow you to save as or export as a .doc, and you just have to figure out what you need to do to export it or save it properly from whatever you're using, if you're not using Word already. The third requirement is that the file name has to be the same as the title of your story. This is the title of my story. Let's just copy, and I'm holding down Control and clicking C to copy this title. As you can see, it's not the same as my file name. So I'm going to go to Save As, and I'm going to change my file name. Then I hold down Control and click V to paste the actual title. Save it to my desktop. Save. Okay, so here's the title of my essay, and here's the name of my file, and they are the same. That takes care of the third requirement. The fourth one is to make your file 12-point Times New Roman. And to do that, I'm going to hold down Control and click A. It selects everything in my file. I go to the font, change it to Times New Roman. I go to my font size and change it to 12. So anywhere that I click in this document, everything is Times New Roman 12-point. We're already done with the first 4 requirements. The fifth requirement is that your document be double-spaced throughout. Now, if you usually do your documents all single-spaced or all double-spaced, you're set. It's going to be very easy to double-space your document. However, as you can see, I have created extra work for myself here because I have a document that is single-spaced within the paragraph, but double-spaced between the paragraphs. So let me show you a couple of quick ways to fix that where you don't have to go through your file a bunch of times. Hold down Control and click A again to select everything. Go to your paragraph menu. Some other versions of Word, it might be up in these top menus somewhere, but in this version of Word, it's here. I click this little arrow to open it up, and I can double space. However, since I already have some double spaces, I want to strip those out first, so let's cancel this. The first thing we're going to do is hold down Control and click H. It's Find and Replace. We're going to find these extra double spaces, and we're going to replace them with single spaces. And to do that, we go to More, you go down to Special, and you enter 2 paragraph marks to show double spacing, and we replace it with 1 paragraph mark for single spacing. Replace all and click Yes. Now this solved a lot of the problem, but not all of it, as you can see. Like I said, I created a lot of extra work for myself. So now instead of finding double paragraph marks, we're going to find a manual line break and replace it with nothing. What that means is we're looking for this extra single line space here, extra single line space here, and we're going to replace each extra single line space with nothing so that these pull together. Let's do that. Replace all. Yes. And that takes care of the rest of them. So now I'm at a single space point. I can go back to the paragraph menu like we did earlier, tell it double space, hit OK, and we're set. And as I say, if you have set up your file as a single space to begin with and can double space it in one step, or if you already do double space files, this is an effortless step for you. I just made it a lot of extra work for myself. That's the double spacing requirement. Requirement number 6 is 1-inch margins all around. That's the default in Microsoft Word, so I just need to double check that. I go up to the page layout menu and I click margins, and you can see that normal is highlighted. So yes, it does have 1-inch margins, and I don't have to do anything with that. If it didn't have 1-inch margins, I would, whatever was highlighted, I would just click the normal one and it would meet the requirements. It would go to 1-inch margins. The 7th requirement is that you need a header including your story title and page number, but not your name, just your story title and page number. So let's go to the Insert menu and let's insert a header. Let's just use a normal blank header, and it pops a header in there. And the nice thing about this header is that you're starting at the left, and then it also has automatically a middle tab and a right tab, and that's very helpful. So I type my story title, Why I Am Not a Horror Writer, and then I can click to the center tab or the right tab to add the page number. I'm going to use the right tab. I think that looks a little bit neater. So we go back to the Insert menu, we click page number, and let's put the page number in the current position where I have my cursor, plain number, and there it is. So you're all set. To get out of your header, you just double click somewhere in the document. Now since we have this title header, we don't need this title, so I'm going to delete that as well. And the final, and this header, by the way, will appear on all your story pages automatically and will number the pages, so you don't have to worry about it anymore after that. The final requirement is to format your file with 1 space after periods, not 2. And the trick here is to remember that if you've used any, you've of course used periods at the end of sentences, but if you used question marks or exclamation points or your sentence ends with a quote mark, you're going to need to search for those and make sure there's only 1 space after those 2. The quick way, obviously, is to hold down Control and click A to select everything in your file, then hold down Control and click H and use Find and Replace. And this couldn't hardly be quicker. So I'm going to enter a period with 2 spaces. And then I'm going to tell it to replace it with a period and 1 space. And I hit Replace All. Now it's making 0 replacements because I already only use 1 period after sentences, but it will tell you at this point if you missed any or you used two spaces after a period throughout, it'll make all the changes when you hit yes. And so there you go. Then you also need, while you have it highlighted, you need to put question mark space space with 2 spaces and then question mark with 1 space. Replace all of those and click yes and let it make the changes if they're needed. And then you do the same thing with anything else that you might have ended any sentences with. And finally, let's use a quote mark space space, quote mark single space, and if there's a problem, it will fix it. So you have just stripped out all of the double spaces after the ends of sentences and changed them to single spaces, and that is correct. That's how it should be. So make sure your whole file is like that. Those are the 8 steps, and let's go over them again quickly. Your name must not appear anywhere on the story, and it doesn't. It must be a Word document only, .doc or .docx, and it is. The file name must be the same as the title of your story. Here's the file name, here's the story title, it's the same. The whole document must be 12 point Times New Roman, and it is. The document must be double spaced throughout, and it is. It needs 1-inch margins all around, and it has 1-inch margins all around. The header must be at the top of each page, including the story title and page number. And as you can see, it's at the top of every page with the title of the story and the page number set up as we set it up earlier. And finally, you have to format your file with 1 space at the end of sentences, 1 space after periods or whatever you ended your sentence with. And we just went through and made sure that there's only single spaces at the ends of sentences and not 2 spaces. So we're all set up. This file is now ready for me to hit save, and ready for me to submit. It meets all the formatting requirements. And I hope you'll submit. I wish you the best of luck, and it's going to be exciting to see all of the work that people are bringing in for the anthology. Thank you.